The rain had a way of making the city feel honest. That night, it slid down the cafe windows in quiet lines, blurring the lights outside and turning the world into a soft, uncertain painting. She sat at a small table near the corner, hands wrapped around a mug she hadn't touched, shoulders slightly hunched, as if trying to take up less space. There was a heaviness in her chest she couldn't explain, the kind that came from too many disappointments stacked quietly on top of each other. She had come to this blind date with low expectations, but even those felt fragile. Somewhere deep inside her, a familiar thought echoed again, one she never said out loud but carried everywhere. No one ever chooses me. Before the story goes any further, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may be hurting right now. She had not always felt this way. There was a time when she believed love would arrive naturally, the way everyone said it did. But years passed, relationships fizzled before they began, and every almost. Love left behind a sharper doubt. Friends paired off, started families, and slowly stopped inviting her to things that reminded her of what she didn't have. She became the reliable one, the one who listened, the one who showed up, yet somehow the one never chosen at the end of the night. By the time she agreed to this blind date, arranged by a well-meaning coworker, it felt less like hope and more like one last attempt to prove she wasn't invisible. Across from her sat a man who looked tired in a way sleep alone could not fix. His jacket was neatly folded over the chair, his posture careful, as if he was used to being responsible even in small moments. There was kindness in his face, but also something guarded. He was a single father, though she didn't know that yet, carrying a life shaped by love and loss in equal measure. He hadn't come to the cafe searching for romance the way he once might have. He came because someone convinced him that moving forward didn't mean betraying the past, even if it felt that way. The evening unfolded quietly. There were polite smiles, shared stories about work, casual laughter that rose and fell without settling anywhere deep. She felt the familiar tension building inside her, that sense of being evaluated without knowing the criteria. She watched his eyes drift occasionally, not out of boredom but distraction, as if part of him was always listening for something else. The silence between topics grew heavier, and the words she feared most pressed against her chest, begging to escape. She didn't plan to say them. They simply slipped out, soft and unguarded, like a confession she had rehearsed alone for years. In that moment, she expected what always came next: awkward reassurance, a polite smile, maybe a gentle change of subject. She braced herself for the invisible wall that usually rose when people sensed her vulnerability. But instead, something unexpected happened. He didn't rush to fix her words or dismiss them. He didn't look uncomfortable. He became very still, as if her honesty had reached a place most people never saw. His life had taught him the cost of silence. After losing his partner years earlier, he learned that unspoken pain only grew heavier. Raising a child alone had reshaped him, stripped away the need for shallow connections, and replaced it with a deep respect for truth, even when it was messy. He saw in her not weakness, but courage. It took strength to admit feeling unchosen in a world obsessed with appearances and confidence. As the rain outside intensified, something between them shifted. The conversation slowed, deepened. They spoke about loneliness, not as a flaw, but as a shared human experience. About the strange way life could make people feel surrounded yet unseen. She found herself breathing easier, the tight knot in her chest loosening just enough to feel relief. For the first time in a long while, she wasn't performing or proving anything. She was simply present. He spoke about his child, about learning to show up every day even when his heart felt heavy, about how love, in its truest form, was not about grand gestures, but consistent care. Listening to him, she realized she had spent so long believing she wasn't chosen because she lacked something. But maybe she had just been waiting for someone who valued depth over perfection. The cafe began to empty as the night wore on, chairs stacking softly in the background. Neither of them noticed time passing. There was no dramatic moment, no sweeping declaration. What happened instead was quieter and far more powerful. He paid attention, he listened without judgment. He saw her not as an option, but as a person whose story mattered. And in that attention, something healed. When they finally stood to leave, the rain had softened into a gentle drizzle. The city lights reflected on the wet pavement, brighter now, clearer. She felt different walking out than she had walking in. Not because everything in her life had suddenly changed, but because something inside her had. For the first time, the idea that she might be chosen didn't feel like a distant fantasy. It felt possible. Their paths didn't magically merge into a perfect ending overnight. Real life rarely works that way. But what grew from that evening was steady and intentional. Shared walks, honest conversations, moments of doubt met with patience instead of fear. She learned that being chosen wasn't about being flawless or endlessly optimistic. It was about being real with someone who was willing to meet her there. He, too, changed. Allowing someone new into his life didn't erase his past. It honored it by proving his heart still had room to grow. His child watched quietly as this woman entered their world, not trying to replace anyone, simply adding warmth where it was welcome. Love, she discovered, could be gentle and strong at the same time. If this story is touching something inside you right now, please pause for a moment and show your support. Like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive. As their relationship deepened, she stopped measuring her worth by who stayed and who left. She understood now that not being chosen before did not mean she was unworthy. It meant she was being protected from connections that couldn't see her fully. The unexpected reaction of one honest man on a rainy night had rewritten a belief she had carried for years. Before this story ends, I have one special request. Please comment below with the word hope. If you believe that kindness can change lives, or share a short thought about what this story made you feel, your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. In the end, the most unexpected thing wasn't that someone chose her. It was that she finally chose herself, and in doing so, allowed love to find her quietly, patiently, and right on time.